Welcome back to the Modern Day Overthinker podcast. I am your host, Colin. This week's episode is featuring Kim Martin, the owner of QC Fuel here in the Quad Cities. She's also a health and life coach. One of those people I could have talked to for hours. We actually went over time, as I usually do. And it was a great conversation. We talked about life. We talked about habits, goals, using your brain better, for lack of a better way to say that. But yeah, it was a great conversation, and Kim is somebody that definitely has a good head on her shoulders and has a lot of great things to say. Very positive person. And yeah, I think everyone can get something out of this one. So enjoy my conversation with Kim Martin.
We'll start out by just introducing yourself and giving a little background on what you're all about, what you're doing. I know you got a lot going on, so it's probably easier for you to explain that than for me to do that. So
Sure.
yeah, so
I'm off the cuff, so.
just start with just your name and obviously about your business and what you've been working on as well, and just kind of start from there, and then we'll kind of get into it.
Okay. Well, hi. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
Kim Martin, and I am the owner of QC Fuel. We just opened our fourth location in Bettendorf, kind of right behind Bettendorf High School. We have
Okay.
another one on Grant Street, and then we have two in Moline on 53rd Street and one on 15th Street. So opened in kind of late 2017, and I have the fourth location, and now we're working on getting our truck transformed into kind of a mobile, not really a food truck, but a drink truck.
I've seen that. I've
Yeah.
seen one. Well, it's kind of like a trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That honestly, I just bought a Jeep, but has been my only mode of transportation for the last 2 years. But since we're transforming it, I'm like, yeah, I can't really drive around a food truck all the time. So
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, we're getting ready to do that. So hopefully we can show up at like farmers markets and different, people are asking us all the time to, come deliver, especially like the energy drinks and things. So
Yeah.
we're working on getting that.
I don't have the
So-
energy to come to you. Come to me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, okay,
Yeah.
we got you. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It's a service economy. It is what I've noticed.
Right.
I've been trying to figure out something because I went to business school, and I've been trying to figure out what is something that the Quad Cities needs, and because my dad's a former business owner as well, and he's kind of bored, and I want to keep him busy,
Sure.
but I have to come up with the right idea, otherwise,
Yeah.
But he doesn't want to do restaurants, which is fine because restaurants are
I
very.
don't blame him. Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
I don't blame him there.
Sure.
So I'm just trying to come up with the right idea. It'll come to me
Right.
one day. I'm not trying to force it because I do have a decent 9 to 5 job now, so that I can focus
Mhm.
on that for now, and that
Yeah.
pays the bills. So
Well, I honestly, I grew up in the Quad Cities, but I moved away for 25 years,
okay,
and I just came back 10 years ago, and I've since then lived in 8 different states. So
okay,
I've had a lot of opportunity and experience to
see what other people
places,
have.
other cities, big, small. Yeah, see what other people have. Knowing what the Quad Cities doesn't have. But I
We're
got
a little behind. We've been catching up.
yeah.
but
Well, honestly, though, after I have a huge appreciation for the Quad Cities after not living here for so long, because really, I think when you grow up here, you're like, some people like kind of look down on the Quad Cities, but when you move away, I really, you have everything here. The cost of living is decent. Like,
yeah,
the people are pretty nice for the most part. You've got the river's beautiful. You've got, we've got the tax layer. Like, there's restaurants. Like, it's really a big little city. So
hmm
I was happy to come back. I felt at home when I finally came back. And um, well, let's see, I've been back here 10 years, and I my I opened my first shop a little over 4 years ago. So I've been trying to make my mark since I came back.
So what were you doing before you got into So were you working like a corporate job or?
I had about 25 years of retail
Okay.
management. So I worked for some larger companies, but they would basically send me to go open new locations
Okay,
or kind of
gotcha. So
fix
you're a
broken
district
ones. So
person,
yeah, I like to build. I
regional
like to
district.
build and open things
Okay.
and kind of fix what's wrong. And I think that's what led me to, um, you know, I also have a creative side, and I used to do just kind of as a hobby, like those elaborate cakes that you see people
Hmm.
making on
Yeah,
TV.
yeah,
I'm like, oh, I can do that, and so I kind of was doing that on the side for a little bit, but really, in 2015, I went through a physical transformation. I mean, I've always not, I've never been really overweight, but I had put on about 30 pounds. And so in 2015, I had kind of this aha moment and lost 30 pounds and really got back into my lifestyle. And then when I started planning opening my shop for like a hot minute, I thought I would do a bakery, but I'm like, nah, that's not really my life anymore.
yeah.
And so when I started planning QC Fuel, I
Plus, you'd have to
really
compete with Tiffany. I don't know if you know who.
no, I know. No, I'll let her do it because she's
Yeah,
amazing. Like
she's
I will,
really
yeah, I'll just buy
good.
stuff from her, and
Yeah,
she's so cute. I love her.
yeah, she's awesome.
Um, but but when I started planning QC Fuel, I didn't want to have a traditional sit down, cute little coffee shop. Like, I don't. Those have their place,
Hmm.
where people can come and hang out for 3 hours on a cup of
Yeah,
coffee and whatever, chill out. That's not what I wanted. I really wanted something fast that had some healthier alternatives because we all have places to go. We're all running late. I'm always running late for
yeah.
everything, case in point today. But
Hey,
I showed up right on time, right
I'm
on
the same
time. Yeah.
way. So
But when I was transitioning, when I was going through this my fitness change, when you're in a hurry, one of the biggest things that you can do is be hungry because when you're hungry, it all goes to hell, and then you just start grabbing
yeah,
and
grab McDonald's
yeah, you're
and
like, ah,
yeah,
forget it, and then McDonald's is right there and it's convenient, and then oh well, I'm already here, I might as well just get a Big Mac or get fries or
yeah.
get whatever you want. So really, if you're on the go and that hunger hits, you're sabotaging yourself. So I
Oh
wanted
yeah,
to have a place that really, we only have two sizes and everything. We have healthy options. We've got not everything, of course. You can get your frappuccinos
yeah.
but for everything I do have healthy, I have something that's more like sugar free or low carb or high protein. So if you want to make those good choices and you're in a hurry, you can swing by and get that really quick.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of a different business model than your traditional little cute coffee shop. Like I
Yeah.
never really had interest in that. So
Doesn't one or two of your locations? Because I've seen I think three of them. Because I don't get out to Bettendorf that much,
mhm.
but the one in downtown Bettendorf, does that one have seating actually?
Yeah, the two Bettendorf ones actually do have some indoor seating.
Okay,
The space just
the
allowed
space
for
just
it, but
accommodated. Yeah,
I mean, if truth be told, I really sort of made it not very comfortable intentionally. Like, yeah, you can, but it's really more for the people who are going through the drive-through, and
yeah.
of course, if you
That
want to
want to
come
run
hang out,
in. Yeah,
yeah, I mean, it. We like it when people come sit and hang out, but that's just not really our
that's
vibe.
not what you were going for. Yeah,
Yeah,
that makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of there wasn't really. It's kind of like you popped up around 2017, and then
Hmm.
there's been a couple other ones. I won't mention them because,
Yeah. Oh,
but
I know. The
yeah,
market's saturated
it,
right now.
it's
So, I mean,
saturated now.
yeah.
But there wasn't really it all popped up. It was like vape shops almost.
Yeah.
Vape shops are
Right.
much less needed,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I know well, I don't know. I know a lot of people who have switched from cigarettes to vaping, and then we're like, do we know if it's better or not? But it's one of those confusing things. I know it smells better, so I'll take that.
Well, from that subject, we could go into me being a health and life coach and
Yeah, yeah,
and
exactly.
teaching some healthier habits.
Have you learned anything about vaping? Because everybody seems to be like, I don't know. I don't know if it's a better alternative or not. Well, I guess it depends on how much you abuse it. So,
Yeah. I mean, that might be a whole other episode
yeah,
if
that
you
might
want
be a
to
whole nother
dive
episode.
into that.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, I mean, I would
exactly.
say my general consensus on that is none of that's very good for you.
No,
So,
no, putting anything in
yeah,
your lungs.
right. But when you're doing habit when you're trying to create and change habits, I mean, I tell, when I work with people to um, just make the best choice that they can. If I tell somebody don't do something, you're going to want to do it more. And or if you try to deprive yourself or just stop, then people are, I always say people are like rubber bands. Like we can stretch and change and push ourselves a little bit, but eventually we kind of snap back to the
Yeah.
original form that we are. So habit change are small changes made over time. So if you're trying to quit cigarettes and vaping is a better alternative for you, then by all means do that. But I would say after you've conquered that, maybe start weaning off a little bit more.
Yeah, because I
And
know people that have switched to vaping and then they can't quit vaping, so it's like they're stuck
yeah,
there.
right.
Yeah.
So it's small habits over time. Until you trick your brain into thinking you don't need it anymore. So yeah.
Yeah, with me and, like, for example, I quit drinking, so
Hmm.
I had to just stop. I couldn't just be like, "Oh, I'm only gonna drink on certain days," and things
No,
like that.
yeah, you have to.
That never
Yeah.
worked for me.
Mm-mm.
Some people can do that,
Hmm.
but with me, it was just like, I have to just be done with it completely.
Yeah.
So, it
Well, good. I'm glad. Congratulations on that.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been, probably top 3 best decisions I've ever made. It's just been a complete, it led me on my growth journey of, like, mental health, and now I've
Yeah.
gotten into physical health. I used to never be a gym person. I was one of those people that would join the gym and, go
Uh-huh.
for a couple
Donate.
months
Yeah.
and then
Uh-huh.
donate.
Uh-huh.
Um, and, I know your current husband is he a gym owner?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. My husband owns Ultimate Fitness.
Ultimate
Yeah.
Fitness. Yeah, I donated to
Mhm.
him for a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah. Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, for like
Uh-huh.
2 years, and I didn't even go. It was
Yeah.
so dumb, and it was so easy for me to cancel too. Like, they were super cool about it when I went in there, and I didn't even have to go in there to do it. I thought I had to go in there and, like, be like,
Yeah. Oh
there'd be a
no.
whole,
No,
like,
they've been
thing.
there. I mean, they've been open for 30
Yeah,
years.
they're
So
used to that.
yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
just so
It's
stupid.
yeah. Well, and you don't. People don't have to go to a gym to get healthy. I mean, that's not.
No.
Yeah. Just if you're doing something.
I've gotten into,
Yeah.
I've gotten into going to the gym, though. I tried to set a a realistic goal for myself to start out with,
Right.
and I try to go 3 times a week, and I just do, like, a standard core workout, nothing crazy, and I've been going since the end of July, so almost coming up on a year, and
Yeah.
that is the longest I've consistently gone to the gym because it's just, like, I don't know, I had
Yeah.
this weird resentment.
Well, how do you feel now, though?
A lot better.
Right.
A lot better than I did before, that's
Hmm.
for sure, and I haven't really lost much weight, but I put on more muscle,
Yeah.
which is great, like, people have been noticing it, like, "You're looking a lot bigger." I'm like, "Oh, alright, that works for me." I mean, and, yeah, getting more, like, random compliments, and I'm, like,
Yeah.
really weird about receiving compliments, I always have been.
Uh-huh. See,
Um,
small changes over a period of time,
yeah.
and it builds up your self-esteem, your confidence, and totally changes your opinions and your attitudes. And then your brain's like, oh, I like that. Let's do that some more, and let's
Yeah,
let's
it's
keep this
almost like
going.
I get really frustrated if I can't meet that 3
Yeah.
times a week goal.
Right.
The only time I really don't is if I'm too busy. Like, that's really.
Yeah. But as a as a professional, you have to set those priorities for yourself.
Yeah.
And that is like for me, I have about 45 employees and with the 4 locations,
Yeah.
and they all kind of pretty much know that like around noon, like noon to 1, noon to 2. I mean, because I'm up at 5 o'clock every morning, so I'm up early and getting my
Have
running
you
and
been
stuff
doing the
done.
5
So
o'clock thing for a while?
since I've opened my coffee shops, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I know I was not a morning person. I'm like,
Okay.
oh, let's open a freaking coffee shop. It's
'Cause
like
I'm not a
now I
morning
am.
person at all, but I would like to be because I
Yeah.
know the advantages of it, and I've all the people that like, the influencers and, like,
Yes.
the business owners and people that I've, followed on social
Yeah.
media or whether YouTube or TikTok or Instagram.
Uh huh.
I'm all over the place, but, I have noticed that, yeah, that's like a
Yeah,
main
getting up early.
trend.
Yeah. Honestly, I thought I was always a night owl and I enjoyed my time at home. I enjoyed my TV time, my wind down time. But now honestly, we're in bed every night, like 8:30, 9 o'clock. And it's I don't miss it. Like that's just our bedtime, and I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything. And then when
Yeah.
I get up in the morning, it's go time. And once you just start getting into that habit, it
Yeah.
I feel guilty. Like I just can't sleep in even when I want to. Now I'm like, all right, let's just get this going. But yeah,
Yeah.
I just get all my running done. So everybody knows
So your
like
cardio in
noon,
the
like
morning and then gym.
no, I usually go. Well, my husband usually works 5 a.m. to noon, like is
Okay.
kind of his normal shift. So he's up every morning at like 3:30 a.m.
Okay.
So we're just those really crazy early people.
Yeah.
My business partner says I'm the only one of his partners that he can text at like 4 or 5 in the morning, and I'll reply to him. So I'm like, yeah,
And
well,
not because you're still up.
yeah, I yeah. So or so anyway, but I guess I went on a rabbit trail, but my point was, my gym time when I go at noon when Landon gets off of work, and that's our time we work out together, and that's we need that for our mental health, and
Mhm.
and he's 51, I'm gonna be 49 next month, and I don't plan on going down gracefully. Like I,
Yeah.
like I want to be like that crazy old mom or grandma, so,
Yeah. I get
riding
it.
it all the way.
So do you go every day, like 5 days a week or 7 days a week?
I'd say 6.
6? Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, he'll go 7 sometimes, but on Sundays I'm like, ugh, but it
Yeah.
just depends. Once in a while we'll take a day off or
Yeah.
relax, but yeah, at least I'd say a good 6.
Because you got to, I mean, obviously you got to rotate the muscles in and out of there. So you have some type of,
Oh yeah, we have a routine.
yeah.
Yeah, but I actually dislocated my clavicle in January.
Ooh,
Yeah, that was fun. So I had to
slow down.
had to force myself a little bit, but that's okay. But it helps keep your sanity.
How did you
And
dislocate it?
I just slipped. I slipped getting out of my truck.
Oh, really? Wasn't
Yeah,
even while you
it
were
was
working out?
no, it was stupid. I just had my arm on the door and my feet went out, and I tried to catch myself with
Ah,
basically
of
my
course.
shoulder, and it went, and yeah, that was dumb. And then I thought I hurt my shoulder, and I went to ORA. I'm like, hey, I hurt my shoulder, and
Like,
they're
no.
like, didn't you notice this giant bump right here on your clavicle? I'm like, no. So yeah, so I'm just, I am blonde, like, apparently at some times in my life, but that's okay.
Well, some people are just clumsy anyway, though, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. I've always been clumsy, but I
Mhm.
actually was born bleach blonde. So I don't know.
Ah,
Now I have dark hair.
yeah.
So I don't know.
Uh-huh. You got the curls too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
The curls to cover up the baldness back here usually
That's okay.
is what I'm going for. But yeah, I used to have my high school photos where I had a huge fro, actually.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
I was
Well,
like, I can't do that again though.
mm,
I can barely take myself seriously anyway, especially now that I do comedy. I'm like, there's already a guy with a fro.
mm,
I can't be the other guy with
can't
the
be the
fro.
other guy. No.
No.
I literally have looked the same since high school. If you look at my Facebook page, I actually just posted a picture of me at like
I think I
like
saw that,
18.
yeah.
I'm like I like the hair, like I look exactly the same. So I guess
That's pretty cool.
yeah, I don't know if as much as I love change, apparently I don't. So yeah.
Well, you're not the same person mentally.
No,
So
no. Although my parents might tell you that I am because
otherwise, yeah.
yeah, I think my mom says I was just born stubborn. Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
But I think as a woman, especially a woman in business, like you have to know you got to know what you want and you got to go for it. And being you have to be nice. I think I'm a nice person. I think I give everybody grace and patience, but
You have
you
to have a
have to.
line
But
though.
you have to. Well, you can say anything the right way to
Y-
get the right reaction.
Yeah.
You know, not be emotionally charged when you have conversations. And that's definitely one thing that I wanted to do with my certification when I became a health and life coach too, is really working with women, younger women too, and on emotional intelligence and how to respond to events and life things and people in a thoughtful, non-emotional, intelligent way. Because
Yeah.
sometimes we tend to react emotionally really quickly, and our responses are based off of our feelings when they should be based off of our um, off of reason.
Yeah.
And not that all women are like that, but women are tend to be a little bit more
When you were
emotional.
talking, like
So
when you were saying that, I was like, I was just gonna say, like, I know men that are like that
yeah,
as
yeah.
well.
Well,
So
and I know we're going to talk about the pandemic, and I think that's it's made everybody just sort of a little bit more prickly.
yeah.
Just made everybody a little bit more on edge, and um, our we all up until that point had very cushy, things that were going to happen to us, mentalities, and then all of a sudden, oh wait, we're all vulnerable and things can be taken from us,
Yeah.
and what do we do now? And really, everybody, for the first time in all of our lives, collectively, we were all faced with the same predicament,
Hmm.
and having to reevaluate and really find out what was important to us. And I was very fortunate during the pandemic that my shops never had to close, even the two in Illinois, because they were only drive-throughs.
Hmm.
So we got very, very lucky.
Yeah.
And
Your
because
business model was prepared for COVID.
apparently, yeah,
Yeah.
it was, but you didn't know. You didn't know from day to day what was going to happen, or what they were going to do, or who they were going to close, or
What they were gonna
what, yeah,
change.
what kind of rules we were going to change at this point. So, um, but it was, I never had a chance to quarantine, not ever, because um, I still had my businesses open and
Hmm.
nobody was delivering. Stores were limiting what I could buy. So for me, I was actually out and about more because, you know, I was I needed 15 gallons of milk, and stores were
Yeah.
letting me buy two. So I
Oh,
had to go
yeah,
to
yeah.
5 stores, and
Hmm.
that was that's a little
That
that,
changes the day to day.
yeah, and like I'm like, okay, so I'm supposed to be like quarantined instead of I'm like running all over the place, and I just had to. It's just what I had to do at the time, um and so it was just a little bit of a I had a different experience, I think, than most. And I never had the boredom at home, but I had the freaking out of having to go to all these public places, and
Hmm.
I wasn't necessarily scared that much of it because I just didn't have time to be. But,
Yeah, yeah.
my husband and I actually ended up with it in November of 2020, and I was a very fortunate one. All I did was lost my sense of taste and smell, and I had a
I had it
headache, but that
around
was
that
about it.
time. The
Yeah.
first time I had it twice. So
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
so but for us it wasn't really, fortunately, we didn't really have any bad experiences
Yeah,
with it,
mine was
but
just like I was just like really tired, had no energy
yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was actually making sweet potatoes for Thanksgiving, and I'm making it. And I'm like, kept adding like all this butter and brown sugar, and I'm tasting it, and I'm like, man, these suck. I'm like, why are these?
Yeah,
I'm like,
this is the same
these are
thing.
like the
Yeah.
worst potatoes ever. Like these just have no flavor. And I was like, oh no. And then
Yeah.
told my I'm like, taste these, and he's like, whoa, they're a little salty. I'm like, dang it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I think I have COVID. So, and I did, but that was that was the extent of it. But you know, during the pandemic, well, and still fortunately too, my husband's gym had to close for like 3 months.
Yeah.
But we took that time to actually do a lot of needed remodeling things, and work that needed to be done that you couldn't
Can't
really
really
do,
do. Yeah.
when you're open all the
All the time.
time.
Yeah.
So although they were closed, we were all in there like fixing things up and laying new floors and countertops and kind of getting it ready to reopen again. And
How many locations are there for? It's
they have
all
they have
Ultimate
two.
Fitness, right?
Yeah,
There's
they
two
have two
locations.
in Bettendorf and then in downtown Rock Island. So
Spam call. Gotta love it.
yeah, but so we, because we own the gym, we're still able to work out because we were there by
Yeah.
ourselves. So we kind of, like I said, we were kind of fortunate on that side too. We weren't we were able to maintain our mental health by maintaining our workouts
Yeah.
and But when I people had I've been having a lot of women approach me for guidance on like personal training, and I'm not a personal trainer. I don't really care to be a personal trainer. I think I'm friends with a lot of them. I love them. I think they do an amazing job. It wasn't necessarily for me.
Hmm.
When I was looking into becoming a life coach, because of what I've said before, with especially with the business end of things. And then when I
Yeah.
saw the certification to
Kind of like a
become
leadership and a life coach kind of thing.
right, I really think that that all starts from the head. You all all of your changes have to start between your ears,
Yep.
and then work your way down because 95% of the weight that you lose during a diet comes back. And in diets, obviously, we know don't really work. Self deprivation doesn't work. It makes women actually feel worse about themselves. Every time a woman diets and loses weight and then gains it back, it actually becomes harder for them to lose it because your body is like, oh, wait, I don't want to do that again. It goes into kind of like this
Shock.
weird, like, self preservation mode.
Okay. Defense.
Yeah. And it makes fat actually harder to remove each time that you continually
I've only
diet.
done one diet.
Yeah.
I did Whole30 and it was terrible.
Yeah, and in self-deprivation, what does that do to you mentally? That's
Yeah.
you're constantly telling yourself you're not good enough. Like you're what you've been doing is wrong. Like, and it's so you really starting at being a health and life coach. I really work with people on like kind of let's go back to like what habits that you have. Why do you have them?
Hmm.
A lot of it stems from really how you grew up and like how you
Relationships are things like that.
how you ate when you grew up.
Ooh, yeah.
Okay. Like, did you have a mom that, you came from a big Italian family and your mom cooked all these pasta dishes or maybe you're from, maybe you're from a Latino family and like, you have the grandma that cooked all these foods and like you had to finish your plates. Like it's your family dynamics and what you kind of grew up with. And, were you forced to finish your food all the time?
Yeah.
Did you have these giant plates and,
Portion
or
control.
portion control. Like, I grew up with my mom always having a stack of white bread. Like that was just part of the meal. Just like, a half a loaf of Wonder and a thing of butter sitting there with
We
a
had a
tuna
lot.
casserole or
We
whatever.
had a lot of that too. Yeah.
Yeah, So
Yeah.
how did you grow up? And like these things are so subconscious now, like when you watch a movie, like do you always finish a bag of chips because that's just what you do?
Yeah.
So trying to explore like just kind of bringing attention to what you're doing and why and then you kind of have those aha moments like oh yeah, I do that,
Yeah.
and then from there then you're kind of able to recognize kind of what you're doing and start making just better choices.
Yeah.
you
One
know
little thing I did was because I grew up drinking a lot of pop,
yeah
and pop was just always accessible.
yeah
And so it took me forever to stop drinking pop.
yeah
Now, when I drink pop, it's like a treat, like a dessert type of thing. And it used to be like that was like I drank it more than water.
right
It was
yeah
terrible.
and is it because you just like your parents had it in the house like
Yeah.
that's just like whatever everybody drank and
Oh, yeah.
right
My parents,
yeah
their parents.
yeah
Yeah. That's just the way it was.
Right. And then welcome, like the 80s and early 90s when everything, like fat was the enemy and diet stuff came into play and honestly, if you're going to have a soda, have a soda, not a diet anything because that's not that great either.
Yeah. You might as well go
Yeah,
all
you might
in.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it's all, it's just replacing sugar with chemicals which, isn't
Yeah.
great either. So,
Yeah. Exactly.
yeah, but yeah, I quit drinking pop. It's been probably 20 years now that I just felt better. How do you feel?
A lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, I've just been trying to drink more water. I'm still trying to get better at that. I started, I forgot that I had them because I ordered them from a friend. A friend's wife was doing like the I forgot what it's called, Liquid IV.
Oh, sure.
And she was a part of that, like where
Uh-huh.
she has like a discount code or whatever. And I bought some of that, and I forgot I had it. I was like, oh, I should probably use this too, and
Yeah.
help me stay hydrated and drinking more water. It's been easier, especially when I'm working out, because like my body's like, hey, you have to drink water. Like it forces me to do it.
Yeah, right.
But I've gotten a lot better at it. My thing now though is that I go through kicks of energy drinks
Mm-hmm.
where I drink.
And which ones do you prefer?
I switch back and forth, but I have gotten hardcore. I've gone the hardcore route where I'll have a Bang energy drink, which is brutal.
Yeah.
And I know I have friends that drink like 2 or 3 of those a day.
Yeah.
But I won't drink more than one of those. I've drank 2, I think, one time in a day, and it was just like a ridiculous day. But or the rock stars, sometimes I'll buy that. I mix it up, but or if something's on sale or something, I'll buy it.
Right,
So I'll
yeah.
think like, oh, hey, at least I'm getting a deal or something. But to justify my terrible expense anyway. But yeah, I know it's like one of those things. Like I know it's bad for me, but it's like the caffeine. It's a caffeine thing for
Yeah,
me.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I at my shops, of course, we do all the energy drinks like everybody does with the Rockstar, and
Yeah.
those are really popular. But in order for me to be able to live with myself, I also offer like the same drinks, but using Monster Zero, and then
Mhm.
we have a lot of sugar-free flavors too, because the flavorings can get very caloric, and
Yeah.
so the sugar-free ones are, they're substitute like with erythritol, so it's a sugar-free sweetener.
Mhm.
So you can get kind of the same energy with those drinks. Same, I mean, they taste similar, and for like 10 calories versus probably 300.
Yeah.
So, like I said, just making those
I
small,
try
small
to not to get
choices.
the ones
Yeah.
with sugar in them. I try to at
Yeah.
least do that, but
Right.
it's still not good.
Well, like I said, all the small habit changes. So, you go into the gym more will make you start feeling better about yourself, which will enable you to start eating better, which will make you start drinking more water, which, it just makes that awareness. So it's that trickle down effect of not trying to do everything at once, but, just
Yeah,
start making
exactly.
those small habit changes. And,
I know not to do
hmm
everything at once because I've tried to do that and I've watched other people do it and it doesn't work.
no, it's too much. And then, then you start feeling bad about yourself. And
Yeah,
then,
because you have way too high of expectations for yourself and you're never going to.
well, yeah, I mean, if you're like, oh, I'm gonna, most self sabotaging happens around the fourth week of any program. So, you know, if you think about a lot of these programs that are like 30 days, that's not really fair because like you're gung ho for 30 days, but then as soon as you're like, they're not watching or you're like, oh, you're done
My
with it.
friend just
Yeah.
did the I don't know if you've heard about this fitness challenge. It's like I forget what it's called. Something like 75
75 hard.
75
Yeah.
hard, and he just did that,
hmm
and he's keeping the momentum going, of course, because he
Right.
knows,
Which
but
is the whole point of 75 days is
because
the
that's a
theory
lot.
the theory is after 75 days you should be creating healthy habits at that point,
Yeah.
which, a 90 days actually for me in like the health and life coaching, 90 days is sort of my standard. Like I wouldn't coach somebody for 30 days because it's just not fair.
Mhm.
Because I need to be there for them for the self-sabotaging and like tell them, hey, it's coming up. You're going to start feeling like this. You're going to start thinking like this. And they're like, what? And then the next time we talk, they're like, oh my gosh, that happened. And I started feeling that way. But we were able to kind of, I think knowledge is power, obviously.
Yeah.
And if you know something's coming at you, you're able to prepare yourself
Yeah.
and arm yourself and not fall into that.
Having that
Yeah.
awareness. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've just developed so much more awareness, self-awareness than I've ever had.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's annoying.
Yeah, because then it's like, what do you do with it, right?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
oh, okay. So you either have to rise up or stay the same. And I mean, obviously, it looks like you're taking the bull by the horns and trying new challenges. And so, I mean, that's
A
very
lot of new
commendable.
challenges over the last year.
Mm-hmm.
The podcast I've been doing for a couple years, but consistently I started
Yeah.
doing it this year. I started doing comedy early last year, so it's been a little over a
Yeah.
year. I wasn't consistent at first, but I've been consistent since probably like August.
But you're doing it. Like
Yeah,
you know, like a lot of people will just, oh, I wish I could, or I should, I think I should, or oh, I've got this great idea, and then that's
yeah.
where it sits.
I used to
But
be like that with everything.
yeah, but
Yeah.
what changed? Like what made you do it?
A breakup, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
But typically there's something that
It
sparks
was
that.
it was a
So
significant, it was the actually, well, I haven't been in a lot of relationships. I was never really a relationship person because I'm very picky and
yeah,
very
don't change that. Yeah.
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 But I've been like that for a long time. Very very picky and just like
Mhm.
also just like I don't know. I've struggled with dating for a long time. Especially when I was drinking, it was
Yeah.
more like yeah, I had a lot of friends, I guess you could say, and things like that. But um, I was in a 2-year relationship that ended, and I ended it mainly for my mental health, and I didn't know what to. It was just a complete
Mhm.
change of reality, like to spending my a lot of my time with one person to being back with me again
Learning yourself
all
again,
all
right?
the all the
Yeah,
time,
learning
because
what
that's
you
where I
want.
was before the relationship. Because I was
Uh-huh.
single for a long time before that,
Right.
and it was just like a complete like, "Oh, I need to,
Uh-huh.
like" it's like not learning to walk again, but, like, it was, like, just a but
Yeah.
I was like, "I'm gonna do things differently this time," and it's like, I need to try new things, I need to get out of myself because I just
Right.
and then I started trying to date again. I got on a bunch of dating apps, and I was
No.
like, "This is terrible," and
No.
then I actually
Yeah.
recently talked to someone reached out to me. I'm like, am I that pathetic?" Or that somebody reached out to me about dating advice. It was a dating coach. I don't know how she found me, but she's like, this guy, or she just like was going through. My Facebook profile is public, so she probably just saw it and saw that it said single, and she's like, oh, this guy is probably somebody. I don't know. But she messaged me like randomly and was just like, "Hey, I'm like, I'll listen to your pitch. I'll listen to your pitch.
She just has good marketing. That's all it was. It wasn't personal towards you. It
I
was
know how
yeah.
marketing. I
Yeah.
went to school for
Listen, it's
marketing.
what guys do on dating apps. It's like I'm gonna write out like the best intro or best paragraph I can come up with and then just shoot it out there to everybody and see who hits on it. That's what
Yeah,
I but
it's
mhm.
awful.
Yeah.
I can't stand any of them. It's been basically a complete waste of time.
Mhm.
I think I went on 2 dates from a dating app, and that was it. And then, like, in Chicago, when I lived in Chicago, I also moved away right out of college.
Oh,
I was like,
yeah.
"I need to get out of here."
Yeah.
I've been here my whole life,
Yeah.
basically my whole life. I was in Cedar Falls for a little while too, but not far.
Yeah, yeah.
And Chicago is completely different. It's its own little world, basically. And I was there for a little while, but then I was like, I don't like it here. And then I
Mhm.
moved to the suburbs, and I was like, I really don't like it here. And
Yeah.
this is like an expensive Quad Cities with more I lived in Schaumburg for a little while.
Oh, yeah, that's expensive.
Yeah, it was brutal, and
Mhm.
it wasn't because it was expensive. It was just boring.
Mm.
I was just like, and I didn't really know anybody, and
Yeah, I'm telling you, I mean, the Quad Cities definitely has
yeah,
has its charm to it, and I guess unless you go somewhere else and you can't really appreciate it. But
exactly.
I certainly, like I said, came back and that was the thing too. So it's like I grew up here, and when I opened QC Fuel, I'm like, I never opened QC Fuel with the thinking that I was gonna have one shop. Like I said, I wanted to be like the next like coffee shop of like the Quad Cities. I wanted to be like the Whitey's and the Hungry Hobo and the Harris Pizza. Like I wanted to have my stamp
Yeah,
like on the area. So, um, everything I tried to do opening it from that point had, and I did it with that in mind, like branding and I even tried not putting like my personal face on it for a while, but because it's local, I just found I
yeah.
got more interaction with people once I kind of started, putting it out there like locally owned and things. So,
People like seeing that more now, especially since the pandemic. I think that's even gotten better.
Yeah, and it's crazy because I work really hard at taking care of myself, and I put yeah, obviously I'm a female. I put selfies on Facebook and Instagram, and my progress pictures, and for the most part, I mean, I really do it because I want to be encouraging. Um, I put a post
Well, it's
out
humble
there.
brags too. I understand it.
Well, it's I honestly I swear I never want to do it. I never want to. I always want to be humble with it.
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
I always do. Um I put a story out that said, trying to get, summer ready, right? And I got like this hate mail from like this person like I knew, like and like, what do you
Ugh.
mean summer ready? I thought you were like a health and life coach, and shouldn't you always be ready and blah blah blah. And I'm like, well, one, no, that's very unrealistic. I would never coach anybody to be on point all of the time because that's just setting yourself up for
Yeah,
failure, and
that's
that's like totally unrealistic expectation,
people find there's certain people that will find anything to get
Yeah,
upset about.
right. And just I'm like, oh, about my fake lashes and my fake I'm like, I tell anybody like, do what makes you happy,
Yeah.
Like, do what you need to do to make yourself happy.
Yeah.
Obviously, I mean, other than like drugs,
Yeah, I
like,
don't
don't
suggest
do anything like
drugs.
that,
Yeah.
on a healthy lifestyle. But, like, you want to do your lashes, do your lashes. You want to get your nails done, get your nails done. Like, if it makes you feel
Yeah.
good and pretty and want, feel good about yourself, do that. But to try to be, on point all the time, like, hell no. Like,
No
Christmas
one
time, I'm going to
is.
have that pie. And, like, I love Thanksgiving dinners. And,
Yeah.
but that's why there's ups and downs. Like, if there's there's valleys and peaks and valleys, and you got to be able to enjoy life too.
Yeah, you can't just be like
Yeah,
super
yeah,
strict all the time. That's
yeah,
no fun.
yeah. But I that was one of my like I had to actually channel my inner
Was it a post that
my
got a lot of views or like more views than normal? Because that seems to be like when I have something pop off, that's
yeah
when all the more hate comments than usual. Because obviously more people are seeing its numbers game.
yeah
And I haven't had anything go viral or anything in a long time. I used to
yeah.
run a blog where stuff went viral every once in a while, and people would steal my stuff,
Oh,
and like Barstool. Um, but I like Barstool now. I used to have a resentment towards them because they stole a couple things from me that I
nice.
posted first. That's just the way That's the way blogs work.
Oh yeah. No, it was
Um,
just I don't do a lot of stories on Facebook.
okay.
I mean I'll post stuff, but I don't know. I guess I am older, so some of these things I just don't even think about doing. Like, and I had done, I posted something as a story, and that was what got the comment on it. So I don't know if because it was more, up in the,
They're pushing stories more a little bit
hmm
now. Another thing that is getting pushed heavily that you should definitely use for your business is Instagram Reels.
oh, okay.
Huge. Like I know my friend Tiffany, she wants to do her own podcast and like YouTube channel. She has a YouTube channel where she talks
hmm
about she's gotten really into her faith lately and she wants to talk about that and just sharing her experience with that. And she also is
hmm
in sobriety as well. And I was like, start doing Instagram Reels, and
Hmm.
she started doing them. Like the first like couple, like she would get thousands of views,
Hmm.
like, and she didn't have any followers because they're just pushing it in the
Oh,
algorithm.
okay. Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, you know,
it's
I
just
think I think
because
my
they want people off of TikTok. That's why.
oh, I gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and this actually was a good opportunity for me because I feel like I should be probably doing more or something. Sometimes I'm busy.
yeah.
So
It's
but
hard to find the time. Like that's why I was talking about with the video
yeah,
stuff. I was like, I'm probably gonna send this video to one of my friends because I know he'll do it if I just throw him a couple bucks
right,
and he'll be able to do it way quicker than I can.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, my husband and I both talk about it because he's obviously very fit, and has I don't know. I think we'd make interesting little video clips, but we're like, what would we talk about? We're like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what would be our niche. I'm like, I mean, we have a handful of things.
Was he ever in like the bodybuilding world or the?
Yeah, he's done some competitions,
Okay.
but it's that's really I don't know.
I
I'm
feel
thinking
like you
about
have to.
doing my first one maybe next year because I think like doing my first like competition when I'm 50 would be kind of cool.
Yeah,
I know.
that would throw a lot
So
of people off. That's
yeah.
for sure.
Uh-huh.
Because I feel like at a certain age too, especially if you've been doing it for a while, like with your husband, he's probably like, I can't do what I used to do. Like,
It's just not,
I
I
feel
mean,
like
at
there's a
what
certain age
point,
range where,
yeah, like, you know, like you want to be fit, but not like, hurt yourself. And,
exactly, yeah,
and you are, when you get older, it's, I think with any bodybuilder, obviously, if you, because he's actually had, he ripped his pec. And so it's just, so he's had some injuries that, there's just no really coming back from some of those. And so I'm like, don't be dumb. Like, let's just,
yeah,
like, you look great. Let's just keep you the way you are. And,
yeah,
because that can really mess with your head too if you are, into fitness and bodybuilding and then you have an injury and
I
you're
had
not able to do that anymore, then that's really tough on your
that's what happened
psyche.
to my friend Shane. I'll have to send you the clip. I did a podcast with him, and he talked about it a little bit. And yeah, it kind of like messed with him because he had to completely stop. It
Yeah.
was something with his, I don't know if it was his knees or it was something in his legs, or he blew his, I think his Achilles.
Oh,
And
ugh, that would be painful. Yeah.
yeah, like I don't know if it was in a competition or if he was training, but yeah, it completely
Mm.
like he was done after that. He couldn't do it, and it's like I felt like I lost my identity, and
Yeah, you
like
get depressed and you gain
yeah,
weight, and then
yeah,
you gotta rebuild yourself, and yeah, that can really mess with you.
yeah.
So,
And now he does comedy, so
oh, yeah, all
yeah,
right, perfect,
yeah.
right. Well, at least you turned it around, and can.
Oh yeah, he's one of my favorite people in the comedy world. There's a lot of cool comedians in the Quad Cities that and surrounding areas as well. It's just been like booming lately. Like I've been talking to some people that have been
Hmm.
doing it for a lot longer than I have, obviously. And they're just like, we've never seen this many comedians. It's just ridiculous. It's like everybody after the pandemic was just like, I need therapy, but I can't go to
We
a
have all these
therapist, so I'm gonna go up
closet
and
comedians coming out of the woodwork.
yeah,
Okay,
because
yeah,
it's a very therapeutic thing.
yeah,
It comes from a very dark place a lot of the times. I mean, not
uh huh,
everybody's a dark comic, but there's quite a few of them.
yeah.
And
Well, I always say my quick wit will probably be the death of me at some point. Like
yeah,
because yeah, I'll fire off something to somebody at the wrong time, and
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. People are very surprised when I tell them that when I was drinking and when I was partying a lot more that I never got my ass kicked
uh
because
huh.
I was like, I'm surprised too because I was like that. I would just say wrong things at the wrong time, and I still do it, just not as much because I
Hmm.
think before I speak a lot more than I used to.
Oh, you're growing up. Look at
Yeah,
that.
yeah, it's weird. Uh, but yeah, yeah, it's been a interesting journey. But yeah, with comedy, it's like I had this whole new group of people that just like, and I have no shortage of guests on my podcast. I had to switch it up because I was just having like comedian after comedian after comedian, which they all have a cool different story and
Right.
like background. And but I was like, I need to change it up a little bit because I
Is this
see
when you bring in the dull girl? This is like, yeah,
you're not
yeah.
that you're no,
Just kidding.
well, I even talked to I'm going to have my priest on here,
Oh, that's
who
not
is
funny. Yeah.
yeah, which is not a comedian, but he's a really likable guy. He's also younger than I am.
Uh-huh.
I'm 32, he's 31, and he's been a priest just for a couple of years. So he's like, and I'm used to like, I mean, I grew up going to Catholic school, so every priest was like 100 to me,
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
and so it's like a completely different thing. And it's just like, and he's like a younger, good-looking guy. I'm like, I really want to hear how you got to this point, man. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
very interesting to me,
That
and
is interesting. Yeah.
yeah, it's a very interesting story, and
Yeah.
also just like, I've been trying to get back into uh, going to church more and having that structure, because I had that for a long time before I went off to college, and that's when everything went downhill for a
Yeah.
while. I
Well,
didn't. I tell people I didn't go to college necessarily to learn. I went there to party. Like,
yeah. Well, yeah. I think that's pretty common.
it's
But
pretty common, but
it isn't it isn't it interesting though that in this day and age that finding somebody who's 31 and who is a good looking person and can have that much faith in something
yeah, that's
and
what I
have
want to hear
and
about. It's very
have
inspiring.
right. But that's I think one of the thing now. It's like I don't know that people believe in things or themselves that much anymore.
Yeah,
And I'm so glad I wasn't in high school with the internet. you know,
me too.
I'm so
I
glad
I
that
had the internet, but it was like not what it is now. It wasn't on
not
our
the social
phones yet.
right. Oh, right. Exactly.
I was
So
I
the
was
right.
just at the right time.
Your public opinion wasn't as readily available to you as it is to like the teenagers
Oh,
now. I can't imagine being a teenage girl and knowing what every single person thinks about you. Like, whew, like that's a lot.
and
That's a lot to
teenage
take.
girls are vicious.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's and they're vicious because they're also insecure
yeah.
and it's a terrible
I mean,
cycle
teenage
and
boys too. Teenagers in general are
right.
just brutal.
Well,
But
yeah. I mean, I have 3 boys, so it's but it's and my youngest I'm an old mom. My youngest is 12. So, I still have him to go through these teenage years and I'm scared, like, oh
yeah,
god. But
at least you have some experience.
I know I got the other 2 that,
Yeah,
but
but it's a different world.
it is very different. But my in my coaching, I tell everybody like we basically all have 2 brains. Like physically humans are the same, right? I mean, we look different, but we're all structurally the same. We have the brains and we have all the same organs and inner workings. And so it makes sense that it's called our primal brain, right? So
Hmm.
it's what I've all had through this beginning of time. And the primal brain is what keeps you safe, right? It's always in the back of your mind to not make those bad choices, not harm yourself, not kill yourself. But
Yeah.
it's also where our core fears come into play, like our
Hmm.
fear of abandonment and death and those type of things. So, but and then we have like our kind of like our modern brain, which is what our personality is made up of. But when I grew up without the internet and without knowing everybody's opinion of me, and I was just living blissfully ignorant. I just lived my own life
Yeah.
and did my own thing, and and I was just happy about it. And um, and your primal brain just kind of quiet because it doesn't know. It
Yeah.
doesn't know these things. And so I have actually people pretty much name your primal brain like kind of after your grandma.
Hmm.
I call it your grandma brain because it's like the person that just wants you to be safe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like who's a person in your life that no matter what just wants to love you as you are. Just you don't need to change. Just love you, and I want you to stay safe. And
Yeah.
that because that's your self sabotage brain too. So if you're trying to when we're trying to change our lifestyle, if somebody is trying to change their eating habits, say, like when self sabotaging comes into play around that 4th week, and you're like, when your grandma brain starts going like, you know, this is stupid.
Yeah.
You're just fine the way you are. Just have that cake. Just eat. And what, just you're fine. You don't
Yeah.
need to change. Why are they wanting you to change anyway? You don't need to change. You're beautiful the way you are. Blah blah. Which okay, you are great, but it's totally in conflict with your
Goal.
current personality and your goals.
Yeah.
So you have to politely tell Grandma Brain to shut up. I think you thank her,
I
right?
couldn't tell my actual grandma that
No,
shit.
no, no.
Sorry.
And no, and actually you don't want to say shut up because it's actually working. It's trying to help you, right?
Yeah.
It's trying to ultimately make you feel better. So you tell yourself, grandma, like my grandma was Trudy, right? I'd be like, Trudy, thank you. I appreciate you
Yeah.
trying to keep me safe. I appreciate you trying to make me feel better. But I got some goals to smash.
Yeah.
So I need you to be quiet for a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's almost like when you start hearing, like when you start giving a face to that primal brain of yours, it's easier to hear it as a separate voice in your head and to put her or him where kind of they belong. Like, thank you for trying to help me, but
That's funny because that's exactly what I have to do with OCD because I have obsessive compulsive disorder.
yes, and
Yeah.
that's where that stems from. Is you're somewhere in your core, it's trying to rationalize and
Yeah, it's based off of doubt is what it feeds off of. And
sure.
then I have to be like accept the doubt, be like, okay, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yeah. So you know why you're doing these things, and
oh
being
yeah.
able to compartmentalize and put that where it goes, and still be able to function and move on
Exactly.
with your daily life. So
Yep.
yeah, and that's it's the same. That's why I like working with habits, because if you can recognize these habits, if you can recognize your inner brain, your inner working, and your inner thoughts, I mean, I only know it about women because I'm only a woman, but
Yeah.
I know how tough we are on ourselves, and how no matter no matter how nice I think I might look in the mirror, as soon as I walk out the door, like
Yeah.
I don't feel that way anymore, and then it messes with your head, and so that faking confidence, um, until you actually feel it. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I totally get that from talking to other women, and it's not just women that are hard on themselves, but on other women
hmm
too. I've noticed a little
yeah,
bit.
yeah.
I've
Mhm.
I've tried to do a few jokes about that, but they haven't. It was kind of a mixed crowd on when I told those jokes, but
Uh-huh.
just like yeah, I have a joke that I've been working on that isn't even like ready to be a joke yet, but it's just like the premise is just like women would probably take over if they would probably run everything if they weren't so mean to each other. And I guess that's another part of that could be not being mean to themselves, I
Yeah,
guess.
right. Well, that's where that stems from. I
Yeah.
mean, because
Well, yeah.
I
I mean,
true like
nobody's
right,
mean to somebody just because they're really happy.
exactly. And all right, I I literally go out of my way to try to encourage other women, like because I know I'm putting myself out there. It's important for me to make sure that I am being as equally encouraging to everybody and anybody.
Mhm.
Anybody who's posting anything on a positive note, I'm at a minimum hearting it, or I'm great job,
Yeah,
100%, like way to go,
I've
and
tried to be more supportive on social media because I used to be just I would post something and then I would just get off and I wouldn't really really
yeah,
like
put your toes in the
engage
water, but
engage with
yeah,
anyone
not go
else.
swimming.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's and I do still, like, I love when I do get the positive feedback. Like, I will run with the positive
Yeah, that's
feedback.
encouraging.
Yeah, I mean, I put the negative stuff where it goes, and just try to realize that, I mean, everybody, you're entitled to your opinion.
Yeah. I do way less arguing on the internet than I used to, that's for sure. I used to argue with
Oh, there's no point.
it's
There's no
no
point.
point.
Yeah, there's no point.
It just goes nowhere.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
and that's especially, I think that was a huge switch, I think, in culture with the pandemic and politics
Oh,
is
yeah.
the change. You really learned a lot about people, and
Yeah.
probably more than you wanted to on some people, and my husband and I talk about this all the time. We're like, I can't imagine, because we're on the exact same page politically and everything, and we're like, we can't imagine right now if we weren't, like, if we were on two different pages on these topics, there's just zero chance that we could stay. I don't even want to be Facebook friends with you if you have some of these crazy opinions, and more or less, I can't imagine trying to be married to somebody,
Oh, yeah.
So it's
I
been,
see a lot of that on dating apps where it's like
oh
if you
yeah,
like this person or if you support
mm-hmm,
this party,
yeah,
don't
don't,
even swipe right. I'm
yeah.
like, okay.
And like, and it's honestly good for them to putting it out there,
Yeah.
because
I'm like, thank you
you
for letting
wouldn't,
me know
yeah,
because
exactly.
otherwise I
Exactly.
I would
I
have wasted my
appreciate that.
time.
Right, right. I
Yeah.
wish we could do that with so many more checkpoints, though, because I mean, thank God I'm not dating anymore, but
Yeah.
oh,
You should. You should thank God you're not
I
dating.
do.
It's
I do.
brutal.
I
Everybody I talk to is like, yeah, I feel so bad for you that you have to yeah, it's not fun. And and then the older you get, the worse it is,
oh,
I'm sure.
yeah. Yeah. Tell me about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Men my age are old, right?
Well, they're older than I am.
Well, I joke about that with my husband because obviously, I think he's hot as hell, but he's the anomaly. So he's
Well, yeah, because he's kept in shape.
yeah.
Uh,
Sorry, I don't mean to offend every 50-year-old man out there, but that's just I'm bragging about him for a second.
well, you're allowed to.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Did it take you a little while to? Because you haven't even been married a year yet.
No, we just got married in November, so.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
how long did it take for you to uh for the last name? Because you introduced yourself very quickly as Kimberly Martin, but at
Mhm.
first you were probably like, because what was your last name before?
Nelson.
Nelson. Because
Yeah.
you probably took. How long did that switch take? It's just a weird question that I
Yeah,
just
I know.
randomly thought of.
Well, my maiden name was Nelson, and I had been married before, but
Yeah.
I
Switched it
obviously
back.
going to Nelson is pretty easy because that's what I grew up with, and
Yeah.
but no, it was interesting though when I got remarried in November because I feel like since I'd moved back to the Quad Cities, I had reestablished myself, as Kim Nelson, and when I went to Moline High School, and that's how people knew me, and
Mhm.
it's um so you know, as much as I absolutely wanted to change my name to my husband's name. I'm definitely old school,
Yeah.
wanting, I'm in that, I'm in that generation of
Traditional. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
um but it was like a pause for a second, like, oh, am I losing my identity? Am I are people still gonna know like kind of who I am? But um it was just a thought, and it
Yeah.
doesn't at the end of the day,
Doesn't matter.
yeah, I took my husband's name and I love that name and that'll be on my headstone and it's never not going to be my name and that's so it's, people
I
yeah.
actually know your husband's son.
Oh,
Uh,
Micah?
yep.
Uh-huh.
I've known Micah for a long time. I haven't seen him in a long time, but he is doing a lot of cool things as well.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
really is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
well, he's actually staying with us right now too, so I see him all the time.
oh, awesome. Yeah.
Well, that's so he can really kind of focus on his
Well,
music
yeah,
career.
he's a
Yeah.
nomad anyway.
Yeah, like, he stays with us, but we never see him because
Yeah.
but it enables him to be able to travel, and he's actually in Canada right now. He's got some cool stuff. So if you follow him on Instagram,
I do. Yeah.
yeah, Micah Martin, a lot of his background with the river and stuff is like our yard.
That's what
Yeah.
okay. I was wondering. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
yeah. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I used to see him out and about when I used to go out in the Quad Cities, and yeah, and he used to do well. He's very talented, like obviously with music, but he's good with graphics too.
Yeah. Yeah, he does a lot
So
of graphic arts and
so
stuff,
he did
so.
some graphic stuff for me a
Mhm.
long time ago, and that's how I connected with him. And I've
Mhm.
done some music stuff, and I've actually shared stuff with him in the past. And yeah, he's a very supportive person too of other artists and other people in the community too, which is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a nice guy,
Yeah,
my
and he's
um
super tall.
yeah. And it's funny
Uh,
because my husband's
uh,
not. Like my
yeah,
husband's
like
like
what?
5'9",
That must
and
have came from his mom then. Okay,
yeah, I think one of the actually my mother-in-law's
skipped a generation type
yeah,
of
my
thing.
mother-in-law's father, I guess, was pretty tall, but well, no, my husband has 3 sons and they're all tall. And well, his oldest son actually he's a huge influencer on TikTok. He lives out in LA.
Okay,
So he's, there's a lot of talent in,
okay,
in these genes. So, his name is Miles. But he's out in LA and, he does a lot of voiceovers. He's done movies and commercials um, but he's not as tall as the other two, but Micah and then his youngest son.
how tall is Micah? He's like 6'5".
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
something around there.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like his shoes are like just
Like-
like these giant shoes, and we're like, how did that happen? And it's funny when you see him in pictures with standing next to his dad. I'm like, where did that come from?
yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's the Quad Cities is not is big, but it's very small at the same time. It's weird.
Yeah, right. And that's why you just got to stay focused on. You got to just look ahead. You just can't look around. You just got to stay focused on you. Stay focused on your goals. Stay focused on your dreams and just everything else is just noise. It's just white noise.
'Cause the fact that he hasn't moved to, like, the West Coast, like, everybody's
Oh
like
yeah, I'm
that's a
sure he will.
eventually probably,
Uh
but
huh.
that's what Torian Ball did,
Uh huh.
and he moved to LA,
Yeah.
and I know they've done a song together recently, I saw that.
Yeah.
Because I've known Torian for a long time because he lived here, and then he lived in Chicago for a little while.
Hmm.
He's been all over the place, but, it's like I was talking to somebody the other day, he wants to write, he just got out of he just graduated from the University of Iowa with an English degree, and he's a comedian, and he wants to write, it's like screenplays, and he wants to write for shows and movies. And he's like, "I can't do that here." He's like, "I
Hmm.
have to go somewhere else. Like,
Oh yeah, for sure.
I literally can't get exposure here." I'm like, "You'd think, like, with everything being more virtual and everything, you'd think that'd be more of a possibility." Because that's one of the main well, there's multiple reasons I
Yeah.
stay here. I like the connections that I made here and the people that I've made here, whether it's in the comedy community or I also have my recovery community as well.
Hmm.
Uh, but the cost of living is just ridiculously cheaper.
Heck yeah.
It's, like,
Right.
not even
Right. Right.
close to most places. Like, I've looked
Yeah.
at other places, and I'm just like, "Nope." I'm like, even if my house is worth way more than what I paid for it, I'm gonna have to I would have to buy another house that's way overpriced right now, so
Yeah, I would think anybody, especially living in the Quad Cities, uh, would have a little bit of a culture shock moving out to like the West Coast and
I wouldn't move to LA. I've been to LA
yeah,
one time, and I did not like it.
yeah. I wouldn't think I've never been there, but I don't think it'd be for me
I
either.
explained it to somebody like this. I said, "It felt like my soul left my body." I was like, "It just felt empty when I
Mhm.
was there." Maybe it was me. It could have been me in general. It wasn't the greatest time in my life, but it just felt weird,
Yeah. Yeah,
and
I can understand that.
I have a buddy that lived out there for a while, but he's not gonna stay out there forever. He plans on coming back, mainly because he can't afford to live there.
Right.
And he makes pretty good money, but it's just like
Yeah.
he's not he's got a 9 to 5. He works for a good company. But yeah, he's not in the he just happens to live
Yeah.
in Hollywood, but he's not a part of Hollywood.
I still think though when you grow up in the Midwest, like it's just home no matter where you go.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, I moved away and I was gone for a long time, and I lived in the South and mostly on the East Coast, but I never felt at home. I never felt like I really truly belonged
Mhm.
anywhere until I came back to the Quad Cities. I mean, I even look more like the people here. I mean, there wasn't. I moved out my last 2 years of high school, I went to Moline High School through my sophomore year, and, my class was, like, over 600 people.
Mhm.
I was a cheerleader, I thought, I thought my shit didn't stink, right? And so,
Yeah.
I go out to New Jersey kinda with this teenage mentality, and I go out to the school, and, like, the school is tiny, and I think there was, like, 60 people in my graduating class, and this was, like, the late '80s, and, they're all Italian. They're all have brown hair and big, big
She
Asian
stood
hair, right,
out.
right, and here I am, and like I said, like, I look the same, right? This short-haired, blonde, blue-eyed girl from the Quad Cities, from Illinois,
Yeah.
and I go out there and they're like, "Who's this hick?" And I'm looking at them like,
Hick.
"Hick?" I'm like, "Who are you talking about?" And it was funny because I went out like I quit cheerleading. I was like, "I don't like these girls," and I hated my life. I quit doing
Jersey's
everything.
rough.
They were tough on me, but um, also, I'm 5'4", I'm not like a big person, but um I went out my senior year. I finally went out for track my senior year, and I threw shot put, and I made states my senior year for shot put, and here I am like this little 5'4" blonde hair blue eyed chick from the Midwest, and I'm like made states, you know, against these bigger girls, and I'm like, yeah, don't knock these Midwest girls, because like we'll
We're determined.
yeah, like, we were raised on steak and potatoes, and,
Yeah.
but yeah, that was a very interesting, period of my life and not a very pleasant one,
Yeah, that's gotta be a big culture shock for sure. Yeah, moving from the East Coast is yeah.
yeah, and it was, like, before Facebook, so, you didn't really weren't able to maintain relationships with people and,
Yeah.
but honestly, even though I only spent a few years, in New Jersey, I am friends still, like, through Facebook and that with a lot of people that were there, and, I think they're awesome. It was I love them now, I just had a
Yeah.
hard time transitioning, but, um, then I moved to Georgia, and I moved all over the place, but mostly with my retail career. But I've always
So
just
just be like,
been.
we need help over here. You got to move,
Yeah,
type of
well, I
thing.
was running a store when I was 20. So I've always just sort of been I've always been an overachiever, I guess you could say. Um, I've always wanted to never define my limits, or I don't know. I've just never said I can't do something. I'm like, okay, what's next?
Yeah.
What's next? What's next? What's what? I
You have
sometimes
to
it bothers my husband, because he's a little bit more like, he's a
chill.
relaxed and laid back one,
Yeah.
and I'm always like, okay, let's go. Let's go. What's next? What's next? So we kind of balance each other out. So
That's good. Yeah. 'Cause if you're both like that, that would be bad.
yeah,
I feel like. Yeah.
yeah. It's I can't. He's perfect for me, because I can't. He just lets me do my thing, and if you try to put your thumb too much on me, it's not going to work out real well. But
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
in a respectful way, like, but we work out amazingly well, and
And you work out together.
we work out together physically. We're literally,
Yeah.
figuratively,
Literally.
yes, we all work out together. So
That's awesome.
yeah,
Well, I think that's a good place to end because I think we're over time. And
yeah. Sorry,
Caleb,
I got way too much
I,
to
I'll-
talk about.
I do it every
I
time.
should have warned you.
Caleb's probably gonna send me a bill. That's okay.
Sorry, Caleb.
If you enjoyed this episode, please follow us on social media, and by us, I mean me. MDOverthinker.com has all the links you need. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please drop a review for me, even if it's a bad one. Once I hit 100 reviews, I can get to more listeners, which would be awesome. And on Spotify, if you could throw some stars my way, I'd appreciate that as well. Thank you for tuning in to the Modern Day Overthinker podcast. Until next time, take care of yourself.